Okay. Good. Thank you. Okay, it is now 7 p.m. and I'd like to call the meeting to order. So we're going to do board roll call and recognize guest speakers as well, please.
Julie Fall.
Steve Dixon. Michael Cornelia. Corey Griffiths.
Robin Kissel. Guest speakers, please.
Travis Cook, U.S. Forest Service.
Thank you.
Hi, Eric Neighbor.
Karen Neighbor. Okay.
Brady Turner to Farm Compost.
Taylor Hanson, Table Farm Compost.
Okay.
Mark Bixby. Here for the recycling.
Okay. I think you're on there. Okay, approval of the agenda. Make a motion.
I make a motion to approve the special meeting agenda.
This agenda.
This agenda. Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve this agenda.
Thank you.
The current.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all in favor. Thank you. Approval of all of the previous minutes. That includes May 9th and June 5th, the executive session that was in accordance with 24-6-402, parenthesis 4, parenthesis F, CRS, regarding personnel matters. Approval of the minutes?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So passed. Okay, we have some special business. Let's go ahead and get to that. Budget committee. Do you have anything or updates for us?
There are no updates from the budget committee. We're still waiting on Cassell to give us reports. And we've been reviewing some things and trying to get a handle on what has been approved for 2023. But at this point, we don't have any updates.
Super. Thank you, Julie. Recreation committee. Any updates as of today?
I think we're still waiting for a poll to go out concerning the rec center. And until that goes out and we can discuss it, there are no updates at this time.
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate that. As far as the personnel committee, we have made a verbal offer, and it was accepted. So now the contract, we got a contract and we put it with our attorney and they will fix it however before it goes out.
A verbal offer for who?
We are not mentioning names at this
No, I
time.
mean, what position?
Oh, I'm sorry, district manager position. That is the position that we need to fill. So, yeah, so the district manager position, we have got a verbal currently, but we need to make sure that we get it all legalized and in writing. Do we have any public comments from the folks online? Anybody online that would like to say anything? The neighbors would like to. I see that. I don't see anybody coming up. So, Mr. and Mrs. Neighbor?
Hi, how are you? We're here to address your gravel project and the impact of it on your neighbors.
Okay.
Where are your neighbors?
And next to the smoke.
So,
Continuously burning.
so your gravel project starts tomorrow or the next day. It happens every few years. We're here to address that, let you know about our concerns, because I believe that most of you are new to the area and haven't been here for that gravel project. We've been here since '05 and we've asked and talked to your predecessors about mitigation, about the noise at our home, the impact to us, the impact to our livestock, and things like that. So our house right now is less than 400 feet from where the crusher is going to be. Right now, well, last time it was done at our house with just an app on my phone, to measure the decibels. It was 96 decibels at our house. We've asked for mitigation about that. Can you put up walls? Can you do something? Can you do anything? The only advances since we moved here in 05 to now is that when you do a contract with C&J Gravel, they've agreed to do their crushing between 8 and 5. That's it. That's the only thing that they've done, because they used to start 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, go to 6:30, 7 o'clock at night when it first started. And for you all, you get a benefit from the gravel. Us not being Forest Lake residents, we get zero benefit from the gravel pit, from the smoke that's, and we have concern about the fire that you burn your slash with, all the trimmings, the tree trimmings. Recently, it's been more and more smoke coming our way. I know it's uncontrollable to a certain extent about where the wind goes. Our friend from the Forest Service can tell us more about that. But our concern is what's going into that pile to be burned. I spoke to 2 representatives from your Trevor, and there was another gentleman. We were talking about irrigation ditches, and we were telling stories about one of the times that one of your fires got out of control, and it started to burn, and it was maybe 40, 50 yards of trash a year or so ago. And the gentleman that was with him said, "Oh yeah, that was fine. It burned, and the fire department told us to keep water around it so it wouldn't go anywhere." He goes, "But the problem was the nails." That led to my thinking, there's nails in there. I thought it was supposed to be just pine needles and leaves and branches and things like that. What are nails doing in the burn pile? And is that on pressure treated wood? What kind of fumes is that emitting to us and my neighbors who are downwind? So those are our concerns.
Just that, I mean, that fire, it used to not go very often. It's like every day. I don't know if they do it on the weekends, but it's all the time. So we're just breathing it all the time. And I'm concerned if they're burning a bunch of treated wood, and what are we breathing every day, all day now?
I think the nails come from pallets that they've dumped before.
But my concern is, but some pallets are painted, some pallets are treated, so they don't rot, and so they don't. So what's in there? And I know that your staff may or may not be monitoring what's going in there, but they might not be able to. But then with the gravel pit, we've asked Forest Lakes to do something for us, to either mitigate it, move it, stop it, reimburse us for something, do something for us as neighbors of putting up with this. And it's been met with anger in some aspects and sometimes. And
Where is your property?
we're north of the fire station.
Okay.
So
Not in Forest Lakes, but down.
no,
they're not
we're adjacent to where you're gonna be crushing gravel. Our fence line and your gravel pile shares the fence line.
So they truly are neighbors.
Yes.
We are the neighbors.
Yeah. So, we wanted to bring it to your concern and talk to you. Maybe it's something that you have to look at and see how it impacts. Some of you might not be aware of how loud that is. And it also might not be loud at your house, but it certainly is at our house. So do you have questions for me?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, my husband and I were just talking about the slack pile yesterday. And we were wondering if Forest Lakes could do, crush, wood chipping and make it more of a something that the neighbors could come and get, or, you know, take it and use it as compost somewhere, rather than burning, because we're over here and we smell it all the time too. You know, that may be an option. I don't know what we could do as far as.
I mean, we also, you know, we pay to have our trash picked up by Waste Management. And then meanwhile, we have the trash from the Forest Lakes thing that blows into our property. You know, it's crazy. So like, we pick up the trash that blows out of Forest Lakes and then pay to have somebody pick it up. You know, it's just frustrating.
So, and we know that your staff here is new. And, you know, so like, okay, we're starting all over, you know, kind of a clean piece of paper, clean slate, to try and talk to you guys about it. And right now, our only involvement, if you want to call it a contract with Forest Lakes, is we lease ditch rights for the irrigation. We have storage water rights, but when our property was subdivided, the ditch rights were kept by Forest Lakes. And in the past, we've asked for just the ditch rights from Forest Lakes for our property for the amount of storage water that we have in Vallecito. Just as a, hey, we're trying to be good neighbors. Thank you very much for being up with us. That kind of a thing. And that was met with nothing. And then, you know, we've asked for extra irrigation days and
To purchase them.
to lease them. We lease them every year. And that we were told no. But one of our neighbors has acquired extra irrigation days, and he doesn't have livestock that he's trying to maintain.
He acquired extra from us?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm not aware of that.
I don't know Tom's last name, but he has 4 days. Since he's been here and since we've been here and getting water, it wasn't your last district manager, it was the one before that.
Keith?
I don't know. I don't remember his
First one was
name.
Bruce, then it was Keith, then it was John, then it was it Brian?
So
And then-
you've been through a few,
Yeah.
but I can't remember. But
So was he dark skinned?
yes, he was.
Okay.
Yeah, but they moved in like, I don't know, what, 6 years ago, super nice. We don't want to like, we're not trying to like take away their water
No,
rights. They're great people.
But I've been here for a little while, and we just followed the same procedure every year.
So they have
If
4 days.
if you went back a few more years,
Brian Myers.
you would see that it was 2 days and then all of a sudden it was 4 days. And I was like, how did you? And he goes, he just asked, but he asked the right person.
I feel like
Right time.
we're kind of good.
Yeah, and we're not trying to dump everything on you. We just want to bring it to your attention, especially now that the gravel pit is going to start tomorrow or the next day and go for 3 weeks to a month.
I was just gonna ask, how long is that? 3 weeks to a month?
They said about a month. And they said it would be loud, that we'll probably all do it.
So does C and J that we know of maybe have sound attenuators?
I have no idea.
Trevor?
Trevor, can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you. I haven't heard anything about that from them.
Ah,
Is it possible we could probably try to have them push that crusher further away from the resident?
I can certainly ask them, yep. And I know they were gonna start, you know, when they start crushing the gravel, they're gonna place it, you know, the gravel piles between the crusher and his property to kind of help cut down the noise.
And Trevor and I talked about that yesterday or the day before, and we saw each other today, this afternoon also. And he's been great. Trevor's been great, and we've communicated with it. And I said, hey, can we do this? And they've done that in the past. But that's,
still loud.
yeah,
So it would put a barrier, so that would be helpful a little bit.
a little
Makes
bit,
the
but it's
sound.
still 96 decibels. The corner of our house. When I plan on doing anything outside the house now, I'm gonna be wearing ear protection.
Oh, yeah.
But our horses don't have ear protection, our dogs don't have ear protection. And it's not, if it was something that we had seen when we moved here and saw that there's a gravel pit and a crusher, we would have been like, yeah, no way, thank you very much, see ya. It didn't happen until a couple years since when we had moved here, that they were like, what the? And there it appeared.
What were you talking about? Some kind of sound, something?
Sound attenuation. It's a wall that they put up around like pump jacks in neighborhoods and well locations and so forth.
When they're working.
And what they are is insulated wall panels that are different heights and different sizes.
And I had asked about that, and I said, can you put up a sound barrier? And, but again, this was past administration, so what happened with that? Did it come to your attention as the board? I just don't know. I talked to your manager.
Yeah.
Trevor, could you ask them about that? The walls?
How many
Yeah.
years ago we had the gravel construction thing going on? Was that 6, 7 years ago?
It was before I got here.
Because
Right.
they space it out. I know they're crushing up for something.
Yeah, that's
I believe it's every 5 to 6, 6 to 7 years.
6 or 7 years ago.
But it's very impactful for us because we are just. And just so you know, I went
That
on
was probably
the
Brian.
LaPlata County website and went from the corner of our house. There's a little measuring app on there where you can measure feet, and it's under 400 feet between the corner of our house and an estimated where the crusher is right now. And when you ask Trevor about moving it, I don't know where you can move it. It's either gonna be right next to the fire station, right next to us, or in the ponds, or back in the pit where you just pull the gravel out of. So I think it's, I would love it not to happen or not to be moved someplace else. I know. I'm just putting it out there, but I don't know how realistic it is to move the crusher itself, just being open and in front with you.
No.
Any other suggestions? I mean, this has been something that's been on your mind for a while,
What?
so maybe you've got some other ideas too.
I would love to have a sound barrier up there, but that's gonna be a cost. And I've addressed it with the folks before this. I addressed it with your last manager that left. And I don't remember what his name is.
Bruce?
Yeah.
No.
I said, you know, when you do this, because we talked about it and we said, hey, when are you gonna crush gravel again? Oh, we're gonna do that in a year or so. Okay, well, can you put up this and you can do this because it gets really loud there. So, I don't know, but anything, I think we're past about 5 minutes. So unless you guys have questions for us.
Well, from my stance, I think maybe Trevor could look at that and see if they even have anything and see what the cost is, and we can at least look into that.
And you certainly can't be the first person to request that from C&J Gravel. Sure, they've got some.
No,
backup.
but we're not requesting it from C&J Gravel because we don't have a relationship with them.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm sure that they could have, yeah. Yeah, but they might not have gravel pits there, so.
It's just 5 minutes.
We're gonna look into it and see what we can do, and maybe we'll have to put some time restraint on there, instead of letting them go till 5, you have to put it at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, so we're not. hearing
They
it
go
all day.
longer, but
But yeah, and that's the one thing that's hard for us, is like, do you let it go, I'm sorry, the long days? Or do you let it go long days to make it get it done? Or do you, sit with it for a month?
1 month versus a month and a half.
Or 2 months?
We're looking to see what we can do for you.
Okay, they have, our contact information, Trevor has my cell phone.
Okay, super.
So, he knows how to get in touch with.
Okay,
But
well,
if
thank
you
you.
guys don't have any questions, I want to thank you for your time, and I apologize to you guys for taking up your time.
Thank you for bringing it up. I had no idea.
I thought that might be.
Well, we were told it was gonna be noisy, but yeah, that it would be for a short time, so, but thank you for coming in.
Okay, thank you. Anything else?
No, I guess-
Okay,
Thank you.
so may we leave?
You will.
No, you're lying. You are.
We'll be here till midnight.
I didn't want to.
Thank you.
Take care.
We'll see you. Bye.
Is there anybody else for public comments that's out there? No, I'm not seeing anything.
Well, it's through Skype, correct? I wonder if there's Zoom, I'm sorry.
There'd be a message
If
notification.
there's any issues with Zoom.
Okay, well, when they put up their hand, let us know that they're interested in talking.
They
We'll-
go either put a message or put their hand up.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and we'll move on with the meeting, because we still do have some guest speakers yet to come, towards the end of it. Let's go with the office manager administration report, please.
Right. I'm not gonna go over the top section, although it's shut off the other cities and. We all participated in the lead and copper training. Shauna printed and mailed out all the water reports for the water commissioner regarding our violation to all the people in the district. Processed meter reads, well pumping report, and utility billing. She edited the website. Barb is working with the payroll department to ensure vacation comp and sick time are accurate. She drafted a bank resolution, adding the new board members, processed Colorado pair payments, research for well-to documentation for the attorney. Continued working on document retention per SDA records management manual. Training, she went through training on the time card entry for payroll department. And then I worked on submitting an insurance claim for the damage done to the mail stop roof. Trevor's getting some estimates for repair to be submitted. I did some research on some lawnmowers to purchase. Emailed easement paperwork to the attorney for review regarding La Plata Electric. And we're still working on that. There were some changes that need to be made to the paperwork that was sent to us from La Plata Electric, so we need to adjust that before I can submit it to the board. Trucks won't be built until the end of August, so that's been pushed. And hopefully the gravel crushing will start this week. I also participated in a Zoom meeting regarding an equipment breakdown program offered through our insurance company. It's all free. It looked pretty cool for tracking equipment and replacement cost inventory. Yeah, it's supposed to, it looked like a cool program where we could just track maintenance on everything and be proactive on our equipment. It's supposed to reduce costs up to 43%. I've been corresponding with the grant writer regarding possible funding for the lead and copper removal, ditch repair, and repair to the concrete skirt on the road for the entrance coming into the district. And let's see, CDPHE offered a loan to disadvantaged communities. So we're doing research to see if we qualify for that. I contacted the DOLA rep for demographics. I pulled River Ranch documents and emailed some information to Director Soul. And the audit will start this month. Leslie has been in contact with the auditor. We are going to have a meeting scheduled to discuss audit expectations. And Leslie will file an extension. Casell was supposed to be set up as fund-based last Friday. That was unsuccessful. So we're waiting to be rescheduled again, hopefully next Friday. Haven't heard the date yet. And as far as IT, they got all the cameras set up. We're struggling with our previous IT person and getting our credentials for the phone system. Soon as we get that straightened out, then we can hopefully get the phones working and the internet without it dropping all the time. Shop cameras are working. We're trying to get the mill stop cameras on the same network. That should happen in the next week, and set up the conference room. So it'll be wireless connection for Zoom. And let's see. Update DOLA with new board members' oaths in their current positions. And I'm currently working with Leslie on payroll entry. And we created a new spreadsheet for journal entry for payroll. And that's it.
Excellent, thank
That
you.
one thing to ask, have we made any more movement on a tower, communications tower in the district?
Not yet.
I mean,
Sean is-
still moving forward or,
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
all right.
It's not dead in the water.
So on the Cassell, is it an issue with them or?
They didn't give us details. They started to work on it. They worked on it till noon and they sent an email out and said that they run into issues. And that they were gonna have to get with other team members to solve the problem, but they didn't give us any details. Said hopefully that they can try and do it next Friday. So
So are we the only subdivision that they do this for, or you think that there'd be already something established?
I keep hearing we're unique, our issues are unique, so I don't know what the deal is, to be
Okay.
honest. It's
Yeah.
frustrating.
Confused too, because we have Casella and Bayfield and we don't
No,
have nearly the amount of problems you guys are having.
no, that's why we went with them.
Okay, some more info to follow. Maintenance, Trevor, please.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Here you are, yeah.
All right, so as far as our activities for last month, we got our wastewater contact chambers cleaned, which is part of our spring list. We went to that lead and copper training class, like Jamie mentioned there. We had two broken leaf springs on both sides of our water truck. We were able to get those replaced and got our water truck back up and running. We had some water and sewer taps on East Forest Lakes Drive. We had 2 water taps and 2 sewer taps, and we had to do a little over 100 feet of mainline extension on the sewer for those taps. We had Four Corners weed spraying come out and spray out around our shop and around all of our fire hydrants, up around the office and along the edges of the road. And he'll be returning around the fall time to take care of any other weeds that we need to be sprayed.
Hey Trevor,
Yes,
do
yes, sir.
you have them spray around the playground and all that stuff as well?
Yep. Yeah, he does get and spray around the playgrounds as well. We also did another water and sewer tap on East Pine Top. We finished our periodic water tank inspections, which is part of our spring list as well. We did a manhole INI study along the lake edge there and found that that's kind of a big part of our INI problem there. And I'm currently working with Southwest Solutions to hopefully this year we can get those manholes rehabbed and we can keep those from leaking anymore. I did some fire hydrant repairs and a bunch of 811 locates, and that's going to continue to be a big process for us moving forward.
All right. I shut this thing down.
We've continuing with our equipment maintenance and our water and our wastewater operations, and been burning slash and swapping out meters, doing meter reads and rereads and water turn-ons and turn-offs. And as far as our fleet, all of our pickups are doing good. Dump trucks are getting better. We seem to be getting those kind of handled and under control now finally. Our graders, I guess we're going to be talking about that here later about our lease, but our grader's good. All of our other equipment's looking good so far. Our skid steer, we are going to be needing some new tracks for that piece of equipment here probably soon. I did reach out to Southwest Ag, and those are, I think he said 3,300 for one side. So I'm gonna need to get both those replaced. So that'll be something that'll be coming up soon. As far as our plow trucks, we're still waiting to get one of our plow trucks, the radiator. We have it's sitting there at the shop. It's just a matter of getting our new radiator put in there. And that'll put us up to 3 of our plow trucks being operational.
What's wrong with the other 2?
Say again?
What's wrong with the other 2?
Oh, no, our other 2 are still operational. So
You see,
once we get,
you have 5 pallet trucks and 2 operational, right? So that means there's 3 that's broke, correct?
we have
I'm
2
just-
operational. Yeah, so three are down. Well, once we get that radiator, then that'll be down to 2.
Yeah, what's
And-
wrong with the other 2?
So the other 2, one of them are, I don't even know what they call them, like relay valves to operate the plow. Like the valve boxes, our valve coils they're not working properly, and they are a pain in the butt to find to replace that. So we're gonna have to like replace the whole coil pack, like update it. And our other plow trucks been down for even before I started. It's kind of like our parts plow, if we can raw parts from it.
So the plan is for those trucks that are basically parts trucks are to be replaced by the 2 trucks that they haven't even started building yet. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, and those trucks were supposed to be built the end of May. And then I reached out to the gentleman first thing this month, and now it's been pushed back to, what would he say, September? So
Okay.
hopefully we'll still get this.
I'm sorry. I have a question for you on replacing the broken leaf springs. Did the shop do that, or did you guys bring in somebody, a mechanic or something to do that for you?
We have a mechanic that comes in once a week to help us with stuff like that, and he helped us with that process. So we were both doing it.
Oh, so you're working together on
Yes, sir.
it. Okay.
Is that a question for Trevor right there?
Okay.
Yep, go ahead.
Let's see, it looks like there's a question on there regarding Trevor. I did notice the garbage area and the slash area is the cleanest and the neatest I've seen in a long time. Good job.
Awesome. Thank you very much. We try. It's an ongoing progress there.
Hey Trevor, this is Michael. I just have a question about that slash pile.
Yes, sir.
Did you hear the comments earlier about material in there?
Yeah, yep, I did.
I know it's responsibility of all residents to not be disposing of construction material, painted material, treated material into that pile. you guys as the final line of protection before it gets burned, do you guys sort through it as well?
Yeah, yeah, we kind of, I mean, we'll go in there with the skid steer and we'll grab, a big chunk of it. And if there's something in there that we see that's not supposed to be, then we throw it aside. And I haven't seen anything in there that's, like treated lumber or anything.
Yeah.
We do run into, broken pallets and, pieces of pallets. So that's where the nails will be coming from. But other than that, mostly it's all slash, it's pine needles and branches.
Do you think the smoke is coming from the fact that there's so much green being burned at this time because of the moisture we've been getting?
I don't think it comes from the green. The green actually, surprisingly, we found out burns the cleanest. It's typically the pine needles that cause a lot of the smoke. I'd say the majority of it. So.
I need those on wood chips.
And then on your periodic water tank inspection, what does that entail?
It's going around up to our sites and it's like visual inspections, all the way around it, the foundation of it, the ladder, the hatch access, making sure everything's still intact. The coating on the outside, if there's any scratching or rusting, it's pretty much it's a visual inspection.
Okay,
It's also mandated by the state.
I just didn't know. Hired somebody that actually died because a lot of tanks are inspected. They have contract divers come.
That would be a comprehensive tank inspection, which is required every 5 years.
Okay.
Anything else for Trevor?
No.
Thanks, Trevor.
No problem.
Financial.
You got anything else, Trevor? You good?
Nope, I'm good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, financial. Is Leslie gonna make a presentation or do we just want to do the property tax? Okay. So the property tax collected for year to date, 2023, we have received $441,078.57 of the levied property taxes of $704,709. Water pumping, there's an exhibit B here to look at. In May, we pumped 3,851,384 gallons of water between all 4 wells, which is 906,540 less gallons than this time last year. Thank goodness for the rain, huh? And 2023 budget income expense report, we'll see the disbursements at the end and approve it then, okay?
Let me ask a question. So when we still have $704,000 left to receive, how does that play into our budget? I mean,
Of the total
That's
704,
the total amount.
that's the total.
okay, so there's
So there's
a
like-
gap there.
Right, of 200 or 300.
Yeah, so how does that usually play into our budget? I mean, is there any way to know that?
These come from the property taxes, and like a lot of times there's the February and June times where they'll pay.
Oh, where they split their payment?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, not everybody pays it all at one time, so.
yeah, I just didn't know how that played with our budget as to how much we can spend early on if we're not getting it until the end, so I'm just kind of playing that a little bit.
We're not getting in.
So we're not getting enough, okay.
Unfinished business, this is the grader lease. Do we have a spokesman on this? There he is on top, I think. There you go.
This is Asa with Holland Equipment. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
welcome.
Thanks for having me. I've been working with Trevor over the last several months on our upcoming grader lease. And for those of you that aren't aware, you guys were on a 2-year plan with a guaranteed buyback, and that's coming up here next month. So we got to get this done pretty quick for the buyback part of it if we're going to go that route. The problems that we've had though since we've ordered this last machine and everything is two major things have happened in the last 2 years. COVID has definitely came around and hit the supply chain with everybody in the world. And we've experienced hyperinflation. So the cost of goods has gone up. Price of steel has doubled. Fuel is expensive. We've seen interest rates go through the roof. And now we're facing the end result of that with these 2-year buybacks. So we had originally looked at what it's going to cost to do a new machine and stick with the normal program. And we came up, if we did that, we would have an annual payment of $92,000 and $92,920 a year. And you guys are nowhere near that right now on your current lease. I believe right now you guys are paying $9,600 quarterly. Does that sound right?
Yes.
So the two factors in that, when you bought the last piece of equipment, I believe the governmental price for y'all was around 370,000, right in that ballpark. Now the graders with inflation and everything we're facing had a pretty good increase on them. The price of them is $490,000 now for governmental. So it's pretty far out there. And we're experiencing this with a lot of the other counties we've worked this program with. We've, Dolores, Montezuma, they're our biggest ones, and they went ahead and moved forward, but they've got a little bit bigger budget to do that. Some of the smaller counties we've done this with is probably in the same situation you guys are in. That's pretty far out there for the budget. So what we've been doing is we're looking at motor graders as a whole, what we could do for the counties and help keep the costs low. So one thing to know about motor graders, there's a lot of counties that have had, Archuleta is a great example. Archuleta County, they have 3 motor graders right now that are over 20 years old. They're anywhere from 12,000 to 17,000 hours on them. They still run. No issues with them. Motor graders in the equipment world, they're not doing heavy construction or heavy dirt work. They're usually doing road grading, snow removal, which that's what you guys use a lot of them for. So a lot of counties and government entities, they go on a plan to where they're not going to replace the motor grader till it hits 10,000 hours. This last year was probably the most hours that you guys have used in the motor grader just because of the snow. So I don't remember what the hours were on your current motor grader, but I want to say they were under 2,000, well under 2,000. You guys are nowhere close to getting to that 10,000 mark. So what we're proposing to you guys, we could move forward if you guys wanted to move forward with the new lease and get a new motor grader and you have the budget for that, we could move forward with that. But Trevor had some concerns, and some of the other board members that I've talked to had some concerns about the price of them. So what we put together, what we've done with the other counties, is you guys actually have an option. You could keep your current motor grader. There's nothing wrong with it. It's fine. You guys have been doing all the maintenance on it. Trevor's taking good care of it. Him and his guys, the gentleman that operates that most of the times, been really gentle with it. I've actually inspected that motor grader, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Will it last another 5, 6, 7 years? Absolutely. And I don't see any issues why it should have very minimal problems. The only thing that I really see is your normal wear and tear costs. So what we put together for you guys is a couple different options, and this is what a couple different counties are going with, and that's a 60-month to 72-month or an 84-month lease term. And at the end of the lease term, there's a $1 buyout. So you actually own the asset as Forest Lakes Metro District. You actually own the asset. The 60-month is your quarterly payment would be $12,799 every quarter, and that would be a $1 buyout at the end. The 72-month term is $10,994 every quarter with a $1 buyout at the end. The 84-month lease is $9,710 a quarter with a $1 buyout. So the 84-month lease actually gets you pretty close to where you guys are now. The only difference is at the end of this 84 months, you guys own the asset. And then at that time, you guys are welcome to continue running it for another couple of years or until you hit that 10,000 hours or even beyond that. I mean, like I said, some of these are built for 20,000 hours before any major replacements need to be done, like engines, transmissions, any of that stuff needs to be done. So that's kind of what we're proposing to y'all. But if you guys have any questions, I'm open to answering anything you guys have.
Previously, I was the one that met with you and Trevor and Tim and some of the others about the continuation of the existing lease for another 2 years at the same amount we're paying now. Is that still a possibility, an option, or is that completely gone away?
It's not an option. I checked on that after we talked about it, and if we could go another 2 years to turn it in, but with interest rates and everything else, that I couldn't keep you guys anywhere close to your budget doing that.
Okay.
Do you have the quotes for the leases that you can send to us so we can look at them?
Yeah, I've sent them to Trevor already, and I don't know if Trevor has those still, but I could resend them if I need to, and I could send them to Jamie as well.
That would be good.
Do you have the quick numbers, what the total cost would be at the end of 84 months?
The total cost at the end of 84 months is $1. Are you asking what your residual value would be?
No. So is there any interest rate on this at all? Is there any other?
Yes, there is an interest rate on all of these. For the governmental rate right now, what you guys qualify for on this machine, it's actually for if it was a year older, you guys would be at 9%, but because this machine is the age it is, you guys are at 6.45, and that's the governmental rate right now.
I guess I don't understand what that means. Is that the tax rate that we have to pay?
You still have an interest rate, we file one, there's still an interest rate on something. The governmental rate right now is 6.4%. What I just heard.
The current
now-
rate that you guys are paying right now on your current lease, I believe, is right around 4%. I'd have to double check that in the paperwork that we did 2 years ago. Jamie may still have that.
So is the interest built into the prices you just gave us, or is that on top of what?
It absolutely is built in on that price.
Okay. And that's the same for every single one of them, the 60, 72, and 84 is that same interest rate?
That's correct.
Okay.
And that's a quarter, not
That's a
monthly, but
quarter.
a quarter, so 4 times a year.
The longer you go with it, the more you pay.
Yeah.
You know, basically.
Technically, yes.
So right now, we're paying just over $38,000 a year on the unit that we're renting or leasing. And if we do it on the shortest term of 60, we're looking at 48, about $54,000 a year, which is an increase to our budget, $16,000 per year to do the 60-month. Over and above what we're paying now is about 16,000. And the end of 60 months, we would own the beat machine. So do we need to make a decision at this point, or do we
I would like to see the lease.
table it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
But we're coming up
yeah, I believe he said within the next month or so.
one, yeah.
Yeah, I'll need to have a decision by July about what we're gonna do if you guys, mainly for the guaranteed buyback, because that lease expires in July. So if we get to if you guys wanna move forward with the guaranteed buyback and go with the brand new grader and stay with the same program.
What
that's
day in July?
just by the end, by the.
By the end of
last
July?
day Yeah, by the end of July.
So we have another board meeting.
So, I mean, you guys, if you guys have a decision by your next board meeting, we'll be fine.
Okay, so let's make that decision next board meeting for sure, okay?
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I could re-email Jamie and Trevor all of the quotes. So you guys have it in writing, and she could share it with all of you.
Yeah, please
Sounds
send
good.
that.
You see, Clarissa has sent the numbers to everyone as well.
Need to read that.
So, okay,
I have
thank you.
another question for you, Asa. When we had our meeting, we discussed the possibility of a track hoe. And you were looking into that versus the possibility of trading our large hoe in and would almost pay for the small track hoe. Is that still a consideration, or have you worked on that?
That's correct. I actually have to come back out and retake pictures of the hour meter. Because they didn't believe me on the hour meter. You guys have pretty low hours for the year, that thing. And it's got a pretty high value, and it's the largest backhoe that we make. And Trevor and his crew had talked about downsizing because that thing was overkill. And so for the price of the one that they're wanting and the trade-in value of that, what we're looking at, it's almost going to be a wash.
Okay. And can we also make a decision or whatever at any point, or does that need to be made also?
No, that doesn't have a timeline on it, and that's why I didn't bring it to this meeting. But once I get all of the numbers here in the next week, I could also email that to Trevor and Jamie. So you guys have that for your next meeting if you want to discuss it.
And we're talking about trading our used larger backhoe for a brand new smaller track hoe.
Correct. And I think we talked about adding a couple accessories on that, like a plow, and also doing a snow blower possibly on that.
Okay. Yeah, if you can put all that together for Trevor and he can get it to us as soon as possible, that would be great.
Not a problem.
Thank you, Asa.
Thanks, Asa.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
They'll be prepared for next month to make a decision about the lease, okay?
Yep.
After we get more information on that. So that takes us to new business, fire mitigation project. Nick's not here, so Travis?
Let's be, hold on, trying to go ahead. Fast as I can go.
You're fine.
2 minutes, because the name's fine. I'll ask you guys familiar with this at all?
With the fire mitigation project?
I don't know, yeah, I'm feeling it. So Nick Olson works for NFF, which stands for the National Forest Foundation, which is the nonprofit that does a lot of contracting work for the federal government. So if you look at that map to the north of you, there's BLM to the west. There's a section of state property in the middle, and there's Forest Service further on. All three, the Forest Service, the state, and the BLM have all done some mitigation work. You guys probably know better than I do, sometime in the last 15 years, I would guess, by looking at it. And so what we're proposing to do is to try to go a little bit further and do a little bit more mitigation work on your boundary to your north side. So as of now, we have an agreement with the National Forest Foundation from the state and the Forest Service and the BLM. I think have put in $660,000 into that agreement to pay a contractor to do that work. So there's no expense to the forest lakes at all. It's just DFPC, the fire folks have mentioned to us that they would like to see more mitigation and a little deeper, a little further in on it. So they're definitely in support of it. The NEPA side for the Forest Service is done, which is our environmental stuff we have to do. The BLM is still working on theirs, and the state doesn't have to do it because they're the state. So the only real thing that I would bring forward is we'd have to use your roads. If we're talking about thinning and logging and removing wood, so would have to come through forest lakes, because the only access is through forest lakes. I can tell you right now, the Forest Service does not have an easement through forest lakes. The state does. I don't know if the BLM does or not. I can't answer that.
So there is an access to the BLM off the end of Lake Drive, I know that.
Okay, so they might have an easement, so that would be the way that they could go in. But again, there is a fair amount of money in the agreement, so we would maintain the roads or give you money to maintain the roads. We would have to use the roads, but we would be able to pay, or through NFF would be able to pay you for the use of the roads, or we would do maintenance on the roads or whatever.
And so what trees are you clearing? Private property trees?
Federal or state,
Oh, okay.
no private land.
Okay.
The federal government has a tough time doing any work on private land. So
So I'm just curious.
the only people that can do that are the state, and we're not proposing any.
So you're trying to clean up the perimeter around forest lakes in case there is a fire off location, off district, to try to slow it down from reaching us.
Yeah, the state did a strip, like kind of in there. You guys probably have all seen it. That's relatively recently, I'm guessing. And that density or what that looks like is kind of what the plan was to try to do further on. The worst property of your neighbors to the north, as far as density of trees, is the state section. The Forest Service section is not terrible bad, and the BLM section is not terrible bad, but.
And this doesn't involve any controlled burn. This is actually
We're
mechanically removed.
mechanically cut down, move the trees, and then either grind the slash would probably be the option. I mean, normally when they would log that, they would treat the whole tree, and then you have a pile, and they'd probably come in and grind the slash in for you. Timber Aid or Phoenix Recycling. There's a bunch of people right now that are in the compost business, are actually looking for chips, so, and there are people that can chip and just haul the slash off.
What are you guys gonna do with the logs?
So
To try to recoup some of your costs.
again, it's through the National Forest Foundation, so they would run the contract, and that we would contract it out. There's a handful of loggers in this part of the world that would probably be interested in doing it, and they would obviously pay them to do it. And the idea would be that they would, part of the contract is they would remove the logs at that time. If for some reason they couldn't remove the logs, if they were to deck them, we would sell them. You can always sell deck logs to some extent. I mean, there's always a way to get rid of them. We won't leave them there though.
When you say north, are you talking about at the top of
I'm looking at that map, everything from the right to the upside of there, yeah. Yeah, so this is all BLM over here, and then somebody owns a piece of private land that juts up, I probably know who that is. There's a little bit of BLM on the other side of that, and then the state goes all the way about to the end, and then the part that isn't developed, that has roads in it, all that is forest, so it's actually wraps around to the other side. That white section in the middle is BLM as well.
And how soon would this take place?
The idea was to try to get a contractor by September. I doubt if they would do it at all. Possibly they would maybe start in the fall, but I doubt it. More than likely next summer. So I just want to put it on your, like I said, I know a few people that live here, and I want to put it on your radar. You guys are gonna have questions about it. We're more than willing to come back. Nick would come back, the state, BLM, we've all talked about, like I said, there's some things that went on here, but I wanted to come and just meet with you, let you know there's something we want to do. Find out if you guys just absolutely hell no, we don't want anything in here, because again, we do have to go through forest lakes, right? There are easements through it, but
How do they compensate us for the damage done to the road, the wear and tear?
normally what we would do is we would grade it every 2 weeks at our expense, for example. It very might be possible that we could, again, the money's coming through the National Forest Zone, maybe they would just hire your grader to do it and pay you a rate to do it. There's a few options that we can do.
You know, it'd be fun if they messed it up and they just work with Trevor, and, you know, Trevor gives his blessing on the road condition and they just maintain the roads.
Sounds like it's something that could be done.
And then we could talk to you about it, whatever will be easier for you guys to
But
do.
you would deal directly with the contractor.
Correct.
And you would be a liaison to us.
Correct.
I just don't know where there's a road that would allow logging trucks.
There's several.
Is there?
The BLM has a couple. I could show you, I didn't have really good maps, but there's a, I don't know, it's about right there at that corner. The road just ends and there's BLM property sign right there. I walked through a lot of this. You can see that's where they put a landing the last time they did it. So they would just drag the logs down to there and then process them. AKA take the limbs off and stuff like that and then load the logs there. The state has got, where the road on here hits up there, it's right on the line.
Yes.
There's a few places where you could very easily cross through there. And again, so I don't know, like I said, it's probably impossible to go from forest lakes to state or BLM or forest Service without crossing private property, I would guess. Maybe that's not a true statement, but it's probably, I'm guessing your roads are not on state BLM or Forest Service lands, so there's probably some section of private property between the road where we would have to get permission from whomever to cross
The
over.
owner there.
And that's something we can talk in more detail about at the next meeting or some other time or privately if you want, if you got some more questions when we get further down the
Maybe
road.
when you get closer to unit 3.
And would that be thinning or clear cutting? Like
Thin, no, just thin.
just thin?
So
Okay.
what the state did in that narrow section kind of across there, they cut that to.
Just mitigated
I
the.
don't, yeah, similar to that, something similar to that.
Taking out all of the stuff that's dying pretty much.
Take out the dying, you want to take out the white firs because they're much more flammable and the limbs go all the way to the ground, and if they burn up. Pine trees are much more resistant to fire and Douglas fir trees are much more resistant to fire. They live a lot longer, they have less disease issues. So a lot of it will be removing a lot of the white fir and the small stuff that can carry a fire in there.
I think it sounds great. It's just gonna be a matter of the road that you'd have to go through. We're gonna end up with a situation like this with these logging trucks going right by houses at the very tippy top of Forest Lakes. So,
And I would just fully expect there to be some restrictions that you couldn't haul before 9 o'clock in the morning, and you have to be done hauling before 4, middle of the day, Monday through Friday. I wouldn't expect you to haul on the weekends, anything like that, when the majority of people are going to work or like that. I mean, we do that, and then, the contract, if we're close to private property, where, we don't want them hauling down the road at 5 o'clock in the morning, stuff like that. And
And your brakes going off.
exactly, I would fully expect to be, so. I'll chat with Nick. We'll look a little bit more some access points and maybe we can get an invite to come back and talk to you guys in the next meeting or in the August meeting a little bit.
And again,
more.
there would be no burning, correct?
No, we're not talking about burning.
Perfect.
The idea is just to log and remove and then chip up the slash.
Okay.
But the point of this is to protect this area,
Fire mitigation.
fire mitigation.
Yeah,
The point of it would be is if there was ever a fire similar to the Missionary Ridge or something that came through and firefighters had to come in, they're dealing with a lot thinner fuels to whatever, if they had to burn out or structure protection type stuff. So, like I said, we have talked to DFPC. They're in support of it. And so I'll try to gather a larger muster the next time I come back.
Is there any way to go ahead and cut some, what do they call that, fire breaks ahead of time? Or do they only do fire breaks when there is a fire and they know where they need it?
They usually do it when there's a fire and they know when they need it. I hate to cut one and have the fire come the other direction and just be a scar you have to look at the rest of your life. The best thing you can do is send it back like they did in that state piece. Gives you an opportunity that you can go in there and put retardant in or put a fire line in at that time or firefighters have a chance to protect this subdivision.
And especially at a ridge line, you know, when the fire comes over top, you have a good defensible area, right? For the rest, you know.
I mean, the reality is a lot of stuff Missionary Ridge burned the ridge line to the north of here. I mean, a lot of that, it completely burned it off, but there is still, you know, down to the highway and there's still a lot of, if you go back and there's still a lot of stuff. And so the idea was to go back like a quarter mile deep and try to thin through there. So I
nice,
just want to put it on your plate. I want you guys to think about it.
perfect.
Sure, Nick will be in touch with you and when we come back in July or August, we can maybe answer some more questions and bring the fire department, if you have people, and we'll have a little more of our stuff in a row. I wanted just to get it on you guys' tables and let you guys know. So,
Maybe your map, but.
and the map, you can bring some maps and we can send the stuff to you as well. So you guys have an opportunity to look at it. But Nick will probably be in touch with you guys about stuff. And like I said, I just wanted to get it out here. She probably didn't know, you didn't know it was even coming. So we've been thinking about it for a while. And so it's something that we've been working on. I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
appreciate
gonna
that.
leave as well.
Thank you for sitting through everything.
No, we'll be in touch. Thank you.
Okay, we have moving on then to B, resident to speak about recycling. Mark?
Yes, they didn't quite get my last name right, but it's a tough one. It's, they're missing a few letters in there. It's spelled BOESPFLUG. It's a tough one.
FLUG.
Yeah, straight out of Deutschland.
Okay.
So I'll hopefully be quick. So all that, am I good to?
Yes,
begin?
please.
Yeah.
Please do.
So all I'm really doing is just bringing to your attention that there's large scale support in the community for Forest Lakes providing recycling services. And I realize that this is an issue that has a history and it's come through and it didn't quite work out. The hope is that maybe there would be another plan that we could put together that everybody agrees about and that could potentially work. And so, so these are all the residents that are in support of this sort of thing. And amongst these residents, I didn't talk to nearly any of them all individually, but an opt-in sort of plan is something that is popular. I realize that's cool. I also realize that you're all working on this. At least that's what I've heard. The board's working on this. And so anyway, that's all I want to say. There's lots of people who are very interested in recycling being provided. And I was going to invite you to say maybe what the board has come to, but I see that we've got TDL here and they're right up next on the agenda. And so maybe it's going to come up in just a moment here. So,
The
I'm
names that
happy-
you have on this list, are they all single different residents or are they all just anybody that would sign it?
Yeah,
And-
they're residents. They're each individual residents. I'd be happy to gather another list with them. I don't know about maybe their addresses. People sometimes get a little bit weird about sticking their name and address on it. But if it's for purposes of the board meeting, I'd be more than happy to let them know that would be something that would give a little more credence to this. So, yeah, happy to do that if that.
You had mentioned that these residents are wanting Forest Lakes to provide recycling, which means what when you say provide?
Yes, so somewhere in the trash area, just have some form of recycling available. And again, I realize that's complicated, but many of these, all of these people are happy to opt in, so pay extra per month, because most of us just, drive it to Durango because we don't want to throw, heaps of cardboard in the dumpster, which, you've been over there, I'm sure you've seen how much recyclable material should throw in there. And so anyway, that's the big idea.
So basically, are you saying that Forest Lakes would have to pay for the service as well as provide a spot for the dumpster or collections unit to sit?
That would be the hope, yeah. Mhm.
Do you work in certain areas where you have somebody on site on a given day? And when these people come to recycle, they actually, rather than pay an increased fee, which is more put upon our people in the office here, that they would actually pay at the time they would drop off?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that would come with its own complications. But my sense is that one of the most promising plans would be to have an additional fee for the folks who would opt in for recycling. You have an additional fob that you can access the recycling portion of the grounds through. And so something like this, I don't have the whole plan here. I realize it's complicated. What I'm mainly here to do is just sort of give voice to the fact that there are lots of people who would like to have this idea explored. And so sadly, I'm not the one with the plan, but I'd be happy to work on exploring it in any sort of way that I can.
That's interesting what you said about a fob and an area which would be secure, except for the people that are recycling.
Mhm. Yeah, so that's all I had to say. I'd invite you, if you have something to say about where the board's at with this currently, that'd be great to hear. If there's not much to say on that score, maybe we could just hear what TDL.
What is your company's name? Do you have a company name?
Oh, no, I'm just a resident. I live up the road on San Andreas.
Oh, I'm
He's
sorry.
one of the residents that would like to.
Okay, I'm following now. I
Yeah,
apologize.
so I don't stand to profit. I stand to pay.
I know I'm gathering information on this, I can tell you that.
Okay. Okay.
What did you say?
There's a period.
She's
at the end of
gathering
that.
information.
Full stop at the end of that sentence.
There is, because I'm not ready to share any more than that. I will when I have more facts.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, super. Thank you, Mark.
Yep,
Thanks for coming in. Sorry about the spelling of the name.
that's all right. I get it all the time.
Okay. Thank you. That takes us to Antoine. EDL, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Go ahead and put together, tell us your proposal.
Well, pretty much it's his biggest question was how, I guess everybody's biggest question is how will it be secured? The plan is to pretty much put, a couple 8-yard dumpsters down there. We'll lock them ourselves and provide that code to all of the participating customers in the program. And that's how we'll keep everybody out of it. We'll work with Trevor. Spoke with Trevor a couple of times. We'll work with Trevor as far as keeping things clean down there and make things pretty specific to our customers, what goes in the dumpsters and what doesn't. All of our dumpsters will be locked on the top and the bottom. I'm sorry, and on the sides. And like I said, all of those customers who are participating in the recycling program will have that combination to those locks. anything that's dumped outside of those dumpsters, we won't pick up because again, our customers will know this isn't how we do things, and we're trying to keep everything in a specific area.
What are we looking at cost wise?
I'm sorry.
Cost, what's it gonna cost us?
From my understanding, Forest Lakes doesn't want to have anything to do with the billing and all of that stuff. So we are already prepared to take on all of the customers we'll get from this. So it won't cost you guys anything.
So when non-customers of yours decide that they want to recycle and they put like cardboard boxes and everything near your dumpster or your collection site stuff, you will not be picking that up. So that will be left for Forest Lakes employees to pick up and take over to the trash. Is that what I'm understanding you to say?
No, we'll make it clear to the residents, period. The entire Forest Lakes, if you want to do a one-day drop-off, we'll provide a place for you to drop off a fee for that service. So you can, and then you'll get a combination to that lock to be able to put it into a container.
So Antoine, it's my understanding that last time we had an agreement with you that you were gonna come pick up items certain days of the week, and that never did transpire.
You guys have had a lot of changes over there, and there's been a lot of conversations. So I can't say I actually recall that. What makes sense is, yeah, we'll come out and do a pickup 2 to 3 days a week, depending on how full things are.
Yeah, I think it was like set for a Saturday that you guys would be here. Now, this was back in like 2021. And like, I think there was a day that there was somebody there, but then it just stopped.
Yeah, so the hope would be that we would just, with you guys' permission and us working with Trevor, we would just leave 2 to 4 8-yard dumpsters out there. All will be locked, and then the customers who are signed up for the program can access those dumpsters as they go to the trash area at their convenience. There'll be nobody out there monitoring it. There'll be nobody out there watching it. All of the participating customers will have combinations to the locks.
Does anyone talk to you about compensation for Forest Lakes for allowing you to store dumpsters on our property? Like some type of rental agreement?
No one spoke with me about that at all. The last, who I would assume was the last manager and or maintenance guy never mentioned anything of the such at all. The only thing that was written up in the contract or the service agreement was insurance stuff.
What I think might end up happening, even if we tell all of the residents that it's only, it's pay use, is we're going to have a lot of people just like we have now, which is no furniture, nothing outside the bins. And it's a free for all, and people just leave things. And I'm afraid that people are going to just leave a bunch of recyclable out there, hoping that it'll get picked up by you guys without paying.
If I
That's
may,
the only concern that
my personal opinion of all of this would be for you to establish a date that, and chances are Saturdays would be that day, because that's pretty much when everybody's off of work, to actually have a manned individual with a larger dumpster on site and collect fees for those that are dumping to ensure that the proper items are being dumped. And looking at it from a business standpoint, what would prevent one resident from opening the dumpster up and having some of their friends or family or whatever come in and dump their recycling and you not getting paid for it. So that's why I'm saying I would personally like to see a dumpster there on Saturdays for the residents to actually come down and pay you a $5 fee or whatever for that service. Now, on the other side of that is recycling, you are probably selling the recycling somewhere, is that correct?
That is correct.
So my consideration there is you're profiting off of the product that you're collecting and then going to charge people to provide product in a box for you to make money off of. Is that
Well,
correct?
That's not completely correct. No, things don't sell like that. You know, just like everybody else knows that plastic isn't selling. So it's not completely correct. We also, I'm not sure if you mean or if you're insinuating that we should only take a dumpster out once a week, every Saturday, and transport that back and forth. Is that was that what you're
Every Saturday.
suggesting?
Yes.
Is that what you're suggesting?
I'm suggesting that that would make it cleaner for you and our people. Our office staff would not be burdened by trying to figure out which members of our community are being billed and which ones aren't being billed. It just becomes another added job for them. When I would
Well,
think.
I'm a little confused. Your staff wouldn't have anything to do with the billing. We would take care of all of our own billing and invoicing.
Separate business.
What he's asking for is to be able to use Forest Lakes property, put dumpsters down. And if
collecting.
residents want the service, they have to, enter a thing with TDL.
With the combination to have access to that.
Forest Lakes, the only skin in the game we have is giving
Just
up
having them
some
on the
land.
property.
is what. And
Yeah,
all this-
you guys don't have to do anything. Just we're really here to just provide a service to a community who wants the service, and everything else falls on us. We will educate our recyclers because most of them are already our customers on what goes in our container. So that's not a big task for us. Keeping people out of it, you guys have surveillance cameras and we can post surveillance cameras as well. Again, we will deal with those things. The only thing we're hoping for here is you guys' blessing to use that dump area down there.
Can I ask you a question, to kind of meet in the middle, if we decided to do this, to help Forest Lakes staff keep it clean around there, regardless of when if you come in and you're picking up and you see trash or recycles there, that you help facilitate keeping that clean as well.
Absolutely.
Because
I mean,
I still think
that's a given. If my staff comes down there and we see something that doesn't belong on that side or in our area, we'll absolutely take it from over there and toss it into the dumpsters. We'll work with Trevor. We'll work with Trevor in the winter as far as all that stuff to to help stay out of their way as well. But as far as keeping the area clean, yeah, that's a given.
I think we've got a couple of the online folks that have some questions. Gabby, what is your question?
Hi, guys. Yeah, my first question was, are you able to see how many signatures were on that petition?
They're not signatures.
They're approximately 95.
Okay. So mainly what I'm gathering from this is there is a healthy amount of residents in Forest Lakes who would like to have this option available to them. And in the past, when we've kind of discussed this, it seemed like the main issue that most residents were having was the issue of being able to opt in or out of the service. And I know that having a Forest Lakes wide kind of mandated recycling program that you had to pay for regardless if you were going to use it, was a pretty big thorn in a lot of residents' side. But at this point, it seems like Antoine has come up with quite a few different options, and I think some really reasonable ways to make this an opt-in, opt-out program. And I'm trying to hear not only the financials considerations, but everything that's kind of associated with this. And we're talking about a lot of items that already occur with our traditional trash service. And if these are the ancillary items that, you know, we're not willing to consider a recycling program because people may be dumping on occasion outside of the recyclables. But as somebody just said, we're already dealing with that issue with our trash program in general. So I'm having a hard time understanding why we can't take positive action to consider a way to at least give this a trial run and see if we can provide a service here in Forest Lakes that could be beneficial to a lot of members.
Yeah, go ahead, folks. Well, I was gonna follow up on that also, Gabby, and just say, I'm over here, by the way. I was just going to say that, I have no problem with, Antoine collecting a fee from selling some of the recycling, because obviously he's got a business to run. He's got plenty of things that he probably needs to pay for it, so, that's perfectly fine by me. That's not an issue as well. And I see in the questions, would Mark be willing to pay the fee that's involved? And I, as far as I'm understanding the question, I'd be perfectly happy, Antoine's fee, and I think that basically everybody else who signed that, letter of support would as well.
Antoine, what would be the base price?
I'm sorry, what was your question?
What would be the base price?
The base price, if we bring it out there like that, we'd have to do it at $15 even for everybody. I think everybody pays $12 now, so we have to increase it a little bit to be able to make this work efficiently.
$15 a month?
No, just $15 a month. Yes, $15 a month. They can use that facility as much as they go down and use their trash facility. And like I said, we'll come and make our pickups every week like we should. Right now, the customers come to my facility to use it, and sometimes it's open and sometimes it's when they can make it there. And that's not working out for the customers at all. So to bring this service to their community where they can access it whenever they want at their convenience is what this community has been asking for. And I'm able to bring that to them.
Well, it would still have to be within the parameter of what Forest Lakes offers for like their trash and slash pile. There's a time frame that it's not 24/7.
I understand they have their time window, but they'll still have that convenience.
And to go back to what Gabby said, a trial run, you know, if we decided to do this, have it X amount of months and see how it's working, and if it's not working, we may need to stop it, something like that.
We'd also need to have everything in writing and have that approved before we move on this too.
Yeah.
So not just a verbal agreement would work on this. It would have to be in writing and approved by the attorney. Yeah, thank you.
So we've got our work to do ourselves first in coming up with an agreement or something in writing, as you said, to put towards.
No, he would put the agreement, you know, what he's willing to do, the idea that he's wanting to keep it clean, that he would explain that it's all gonna be locked up with the combination lock, how that would work, maybe the 1-day fee type thing he mentioned. Well, how would that work? $15 a month.
Sorry, I don't mean to stop you. I didn't mention a 1-day fee thing. Your colleague mentioned coming out there every Saturday. That's not what I was offering or suggesting at all.
I'm gonna come out 2 or 3 times a week.
Okay, so coming out 2 or 3 times a week to get the recycle, is that what I'm hearing?
Correct, to pick up the recycling, yes.
Okay, so again, having this in writing to let our attorney also, so that we're not liable for stuff, would be what we'd need to have.
Is there anything, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is this what you were kind of alluding to? A for-profit business on the property of Forest Lakes? Is there anything,
Again, the attorney would have. to
and
be able
that's,
to tell
that's
us
when you
that.
said the attorney and,
For profit would be,
Here's kind of my issue. We don't allow other businesses to come in and set up on our property, utilize our facility for security and all that. Why would we allow these guys to do it for free? That's what I'm getting at. Are we gonna like charge, a rental
Well,
agreement?
and maybe that's what needs to happen. Mark has brought forth a list, some are duplicate last names, so I'm guessing it wasn't just one per resident, it was like the family
Sure. Yeah,
signed up.
absolutely.
So that's where a lot, there's some duplicates there, but, so he's got like some folks here that are interested in it, already doing recycle, already paying the $12 fee.
Yeah, so that would be, I mean, what I would chime in on is, I would say, well, why would we do that? Well, it's because there's lots of residents that would love for this service to be there, and like, people like me, you know, we haul it. I typically
Well,
go
there's
up
space,
to
okay.
Durango, and so I'm, you know, it's like way up by Clinton Views, and it's, you know.
I understand that. Bayfield, everyone wants better internet service. So right now, we're installing, some new conduit and all that stuff. And we're leasing the conduit out to an organization. So they're paying the town of Bayfield for the conduit that we're installing with water main and all that stuff. They put in a new CNL building inside my water treatment plant parameter. And they're leasing that spot from the town of Bayfield. Because it's, you know, it's our cameras, it's our power.
Great,
it's-
I understand. So we come down to that. If we put in the agreement that, you know, we come up with a price to rent a square footage of space, then that's what we do. That this isn't a big deal in that perspective for
Yeah,
me.
I'm just bringing that up to the board. Like,
Yeah, that's a
I
good
mean, there's
point.
gotta be some, it's our power that operates the fence, keeps them in and out. It's our contract with the fobs that lets them in and out.
Yeah, that's a
So I
good
mean,
point. Yeah, no,
I'm not against recycling by no means. I'm for it.
I don't think you are.
I mean, I could definitely do a better job recycling myself, but
Yeah, I suppose my only thought would be if requiring a rent would prevent Antoine from being able to swing it.
and
That'd be disappointing to me.
and that would be part of the negotiations if we decided to go with TDO, what
right.
we would, Antoine, our lawyer and the board would sit down and hash out.
So my question now is TDL the only one that we've contacted to
No,
provide us with information?
2 others.
Okay.
So I'm
They're-
still
okay.
discussing with them, but we could offer it to everybody for like $2.40 for each one. $2.40 is
I'm
what
just
it
trying to
would
get to the
be
chat.
For everybody in the subdivision?
if we wanted to do something like that. So,
I mean, they had heartburn over the $2.50 on the mailbox.
I know,
Well, so here's another alternative. And Antoine, we're not trying to cut you out of here, but you may have to come back to another meeting. You get some more information from these other folks.
yes.
We get it all compiled and we actually have a public hearing on it, public meeting.
Right.
And the people that want to come speak to it, come and speak to it, and majority rules, if there's more ayes than nays, then so be it.
Okay.
That sounds like a good plan.
Thank you,
Okay,
Antoine.
thank you.
Thank you for the information, appreciate it.
Yep.
Okay, let's move forward then. Farm to table compost.
Hi, everybody. Oh, you sat there forever?
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for your time. next year, so we're really excited. And it's really serendipitous what you guys were just talking about, is some of the same sort of things that and the same sort of people, I imagine, would be interested in our services. But so anyway, we'd like to just kind of introduce ourselves and rate again to the conference, and this is Taylor. And he's going to start off and kind of give you a little rundown real quick of our company. And then I'll give you kind of a little rundown of our services and what we're proposing. And then we kind of go from there and take questions.
Yeah, hey guys, I'm Taylor. Nice to meet you all. We have a curbside compost pickup service in Durango. We serve about a sixth of the residential households in Durango. We have a public-private partnership with the city of Durango, so we're trying to get to community-wide compost. We're really like environmentalists at heart. So when we push compost, it's for environmental reasons. But compost or food scraps are about 30% of what goes into the landfill. So it's a really good chunk. And when compost goes to the landfill, it creates methane, and methane is a really potent greenhouse gas. It's about 72 times as potent as carbon dioxide. So it's really nasty stuff. It warms the atmosphere. I guess so that's like one component. And kind of the second thing is that compost creates this really nutrient-rich soil. So as part of, being a customer at Table to Farm, you get, our customers receive compost dividends back. So I guess, just kind of an exploratory conversation. We offer curbside house-to-house pickup in the city of Durango. So kind of just listening to the conversations, it's kind of like, what would, would it make sense? What would fit y'all's needs? It's very similar to Mark Paul. What Mark was saying about having an opt-in service. This is the model with Durango. So you pay for service, and it's just, we're kind of just gauging interest to see if this is something the community would be interested in. It's pretty cool to keep stuff out of the landfill. Like I said, you get compost back. Environmentally, you're doing a great thing.
Soils.
Yeah, you're helping our soils. And we're, as a company, we just built we have a 16th permitted compost facility in the state. It's a class 3 CDPHE compost facility. So we had to go through this really lengthy process, a 2 to 3 year process with LaPlata County to get certified. We're the 16th certified class 2 compost facility. The first certified in the last 5 years. We've gotten some grant help from Colorado Department of Health and Environment, and that's really helped us grow our business. So our facility is capable of taking our region's organic waste, which includes like 5 counties in Southwest Colorado. So we hope to really be able to collect a lot of organic waste, and then all of that compost we make goes back into our local ag communities, to our local farmers, to grow better produce, and to keep the methane and carbon dioxide from being generated in landfills. And just last little thing, landfills are really filling up, especially in Pagosa. We met with Archuleta County 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was really interesting. But their landfill is getting near capacity, and they're looking at options of like expanding. It's going to cost them just a ton of money, so they're trying to think kind of creatively outside the box. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
And you will provide the containers for the customers?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we provide their 5-gallon buckets. So I just wanted to bring this up preemptively. My business partner, Monique, that's not here today. She's a wildlife biologist by trade. So I know bears are something that kind of comes up. But we don't have an issue with bears in Durango because we pick up kind of same day. But if we use like a tote type model where we were picking up on site with a larger amount, we have bear resistant containers, or we we've had other creative solutions. With Falls Creek subdivision in Durango, they actually built an enclosure and it's gated, so people just put their buckets in and pick them up. So happy to kind of cater service if it feels like it's something y'all are interested in.
And you guys would be handling all the fees and collecting the money?
Yes, sir.
Do you have trucks that can make it up this hill in the winter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You know,
Just asking.
Really good question. Yes, we do, and but to be perfectly honest, I'm not. I would want to, we would before we overpromise and underdeliver, we want to like suss out and make sure that's the case. But yeah, generally speaking, we've got good four-wheel drive capable trucks. And, yeah.
And the way this came up is I was at the farmer's market in Durango. They said I could mention their names, Paige and Caleb. Here, this is a firefighter. Anyway, so they encouraged me to contact you guys. They said they've been contacted with a few other residents in the district, and so that's kind of where this came. It wasn't out of the blue. And so then I just wanted to give you guys just a little, pass one, if you'd like to. This kind of gives you a little snapshot or how we're just in Elmhorst Corner that Taylor was talking about, so we're really not that far away. Some of the facts of our company and we sequestered. Again, it gets back to the air quality. It's really what we're trying to help keep clear. And I'm working the commercial end, so we're also getting a lot of restaurants, creamy and poorhouse and some of those. So the bigger generators. So we know that, you have 834 units, right? 1,000 residents, is that about right? So, you're generating the other sense it's going into trash. And kind of getting to your question, and what you guys were talking about with recycling, the thought would be in your transfer station, we put our very resistant totes, 2 or 3, depending on how many people are signing up, we would have to figure out how much is actually getting put in on a regular basis. And we could have locks on them as well to prevent anyone who isn't paying for our services. And so in that model, we would give anyone who's participating in the 5-gallon bucket, they would come to transfer stations when they're doing recycling and everything else, and they would put that in the tote, and we would come and pick it up. So that's kind of in a nutshell what you're looking at. And then, you had brought up, we are a for-profit company, so negotiate if that's something, because it's very similar to what you guys are talking about recycling.
What is the cost?
So for Durango residents, it's $28 a month. But I think if we had like a different, it's kind of like Antoine was saying, like it was like $15 per household for however many kind of customers he signed up. I think part of it would be gauging interest, right? Like, is this something that folks are wanting to pay for, similar to recycling? Kind of an opt-in thing. We could maybe do like a trial run and pick up curbside. We're also on the tail end of a grant with Colorado Department of Health and Environment. We've got some free spots left for a 3-month service. We're offering this to Durango, so I have to talk to my business partner before I promise anything, but it's possible we could offer some type of free service for a couple months and just see if folks are interested in it, and if there's support to continue with the service. That could be an option too. And for us, it has to be, since we are in Elmhorst Corner, but it is a bit of a drive getting out here. I'm sure you guys deal with that with a lot of your haulers, right? It's like kind of far, or like you're saying with Bayfield and the internet. It's like everyone wants good internet, so it's like we want to provide a service that it would have to make sense. So I don't know what that kind of minimum threshold number would be for us, but just kind of want to start the dialogue and see if y'all have any interest.
Well, I think there would be interest from the community. But as you can tell, we don't get much community members here to our board meetings.
We used to. but yeah.
Have you guys thought about putting out a mailer to the folks up here, like we're doing a survey or a poll, whatever you want to
Yeah,
call
we're open to that, sure, I mean, you guys obviously have email access to everybody, right? So,
No,
we don't, okay. I didn't.
So, yeah, some of them have access, some of them still prefer the old fashioned.
Thanks for having that.
in mailboxes and stuff like that.
Or you express.
Yeah, there's a way to communicate with folks who don't have insurance, that would probably be a good place to start. What, I don't know, do you guys have questions or recommendations, or what do you guys think about?
I think it's interesting.
Have you heard of food scrap? Also, one more thing, kind of in tandem with the Forest Service stuff, it is possible. The Forest Service gentleman made the point, we are like, so Durango Fire Protection District, is bringing us, chipped wood down to our farm at Elmore's Corner. So it's possible we could work something out where, you know, we could get rid of some of your, you know, fire mitigation slash if the Forest Service chips on site, and then we could come pick up compost, and then, you know, maybe have like a larger truck to be able to pick up the.
Tell you what,
you know,
go run a chipper and you can get started at the slash pile.
Yeah.
Oh, I hear ya. We're trying to figure out, also kind of on that note, like partnering with the Forest Service, to really understand the economics of pulling, to your point, like pulling wood out of the forests, chipping it, reducing fire hazards, because composters, like we have a need for it. We just built this facility, cost us a lot of money to build the facility. And we've been really grateful to have received some grants from the state of Colorado and the U.S. Department of Agriculture, just received a federal grant. So we're really ramping up to be able to grow. And I don't know, I know people in the community. I'm an EMT ski patroller at Purgatory, so I did my training up at Upper Pine, and I know a bunch of folks that live out here, and yeah, we just thought it would be a cool connection, and we're trying to branch out in the community.
I think it's a great service, actually, because 20 years ago, Las Vegas, Nevada they've been doing this for farmers, you know, all the hotels. They had bins and they would send it off to the farmers for the pigs and stuff. I think this is great. And if we could provide some of these services, I think, to Forest Lake without causing issues, curbside here, I don't think would be a good idea. There's too much wildlife. And we don't want it to be in the way in the winter for the road crew.
Right.
So it would definitely have to be something down at the trash pile.
Right.
So.
So what goes from here? So you guys kind of vote on it, or what is?
No.
the next step?
I think the next step is, maybe you should be in contact with Jamie or Shauna and figure out a way to,
Communicate.
ask the residents if they would be interested in this. If it's not gonna, you know, cost us
If it's gonna be like a
$800
mailer
to
that
send
you
out
guys
mailers.
like send out for everybody, or if it's gonna be something we put on a utility bill, or,
Basic storage.
and then, yeah, that kind of like, what kind of storage are you kind of looking?
Well, I think we're wanting to gauge the interest first, and then once we get, you know, hey, you know, 80% of the folks up here want to do this, then we dig into it a little deeper and start figuring out details and
Mhm.
if we can do 5-gallon pills or totes or.
I think the biggest thing is however you communicate to the people would be, you cannot leave these bins outside. You can, you know, they must be in a secure location.
Yeah.
Most people know that with their trash here.
Yeah, well, we want it to be clean, easy, convenient. We don't want any, and unlike recycling, people aren't gonna dump their 5-gallon bucket next to the tote, you know, we're not gonna.
Right.
You know, people not, you know, and so at least that part. And chunks would be the best. We're just talking about like the rolling trash can size, 64 gallon. 3 of those, we come once a week, trying to keep it really simple. It depends again how many people. And again, no 5-gallon buckets curbside, which is better for the carbon footprint anyway. We have a lack of vehicles yet. So, thank you. So,
And that's kind of what one of the residents had just said is, do they know there's 26 miles of road?
right.
And so when you're on the face of a hill, kind of,
And we're more rural, so there are a lot of people that do their own composting.
Sure. It's great. That's true.
Probably more than in Durango.
Yes. Yeah.
You guys are ahead of
That's
the,
awesome.
ahead of the curve.
I know my friends do.
So basically notification, fact finding as to what the interest is.
Sure.
And then after that, we can move forward with meeting with you again possibly.
Would we come back to one of these or something?
This would probably be the best.
I think the best
setting.
one.
Yes. Okay. Great. Well, thank you guys. And like literally a mailer I stick into mailboxes. Like,
We don't
have
do
the
that.
mail.
We don't do that.
It would be like something that you could like.
They can give you an address.
Through
list.
yeah, like that,
It would have to be
through the
mailed.
the post office,
Mail.
mail.
Yeah. We have,
Because I don't think it's legal to put anything.
it's
anybody
not.
box.
You can't put flyers and stuff
You'd
in
have to mail
people's
it
mailboxes.
through the US post
When I
office.
first started in public works, I got my hand slapped for doing that.
But we can have something like this up front, so people that come in, we've got a lot of little informational pamphlets at the front door
And I think we put some on
on our website.
the website.
Okay.
The utility bill, if I'm correct, right? We can put a
Like a little blurb about it, maybe to check either the
Mhm.
website for more details on it, or if
Sure.
there's interest to get in touch with, or something
Yeah.
like that.
Can we set up a poll on the website? Or no?
This
We're
is
working on it. Our web designer's on vacation, but he's
Oh,
supposed to call.
Darn vacations.
Yeah,
So-
but that's on the list.
So just stating correctly, the best way to communicate with folks is snail mail, post office. We did a mailer to like the whole city of Durango for this market study. It's kind of expensive, but if there's a way to communicate with folks in an email list or I don't know, in a more effective way without like disclosing, private information or breaching HOA bylaws or rules.
Well, something like this maybe on our web, like.
We can put it on our website,
On the
or something
website.
on the bill,
Okay.
but we
Cool.
can't email
That'd be great.
everyone.
I'll put it on Facebook.
Okay, so golf folks, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Yeah. This is just, I'll just leave it, like, we do meet Gary, so we do accept a lot of different things.
Sorry, I'm trying to take the exit. Thank you very much.
So just, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, very much. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Phil.
Thanks for your time.
Appreciate you coming in and sharing information with us.
I was just thinking, on the, I don't know if you don't mind the 2 cents, but just to kind of have an automotive background, but maybe on the lease stuff for the equipment. One thought was maybe seeing if you could get a buyout option on I'm sorry, this is thank you.
On the one we have now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
do
thinking the
that.
same thing.
Yeah, if you do that and then roll it into a purchase, it might make the most sense, because on a lease, like you were saying, interest rates have gone up a bunch. But, I did that in the automotive business and, it's definitely worth.
So you're talking biofuels.
No, he's,
No.
the grader.
On your
Back
lease,
on the
you're doing an 84-month, lease and paying essentially for a brand new machine. Is there a way you can purchase the current machine and then, usually when you get a lease, they'll give you like a fair market value or like a residual value at the end of the lease. So looking into that as an option too, because, everyone's got different interests, but it might be your financial benefit.
Buyout.
And I thought we talked to Trevor about that,
Yeah,
or requested a buyout for the current machine, and I don't,
it ended up being more expensive going that route,
oh,
I thought. Cause that's why we sent him back to discuss further with things.
So-
Don't you remember?
So to extend,
Yeah, nothing matched, none of the.
they were gonna honor the old, lease.
So the lease, yeah, they couldn't extend the current lease at the current prices.
I
but
can't find it, I know.
But what he said,
But if you have the lease agreement, some will go in there, I don't know, like, I'm just not for the background, but like, there's an option, there's a good buyout option at the end of the lease.
yeah.
So that gives you that option.
What he was talking about was a $1 buyout.
Yeah, if you bought the two pieces.
The new one.
But the current one doesn't have an option to buy
Correct, yeah.
at the end of this agreement in July.
This won't be a new one that we're gonna still use the old one, as I understood.
Yeah.
And just extend the months on it and as a buyout kind of thing, like the 60 months is what I understood. It won't be a new.
Yeah, no, and that's what I think
Yeah.
we're both talking
On
about is
buyout.
buying the current one we have straight up. End of the lease, we buy it.
Through the,
Yeah,
through the lease.
instead of buying a brand new one over 80 months. Which
But buying
is
it
still a lot of
outright,
money.
we would probably have to take the loan out. Am I incorrect on that? Because I don't know that we would have cash to cash out the used one.
But I guess the lease is the same, it's really the same thing here.
Lease.
A lease.
I'm understanding
No,
that.
I don't. You know, this with interest rates, like having gone up, if it's, you know, before when you started it, now, I guess, I don't know. Just looking.
I mean, I know we're gonna make a payment no matter what.
Yeah.
But I wanted to make sure that we said if you're gonna buy it, that we understand that we're still gonna continue to make payments.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, that takes us to, purchasing the mower. The decision about purchasing the mower.
Oh, yeah.
There were 3, it was set in the packet as well.
Oh, Trevor.
You still there, Trevor?
Yes, sir. I'm still here.
Which one of these you think is best? And
I
why?
have no, I've never operated one of these ones that we're currently looking at before, so your guys' guess is as good as mine. I have no real preference. I don't know which one's gonna be the best or worst. I don't know.
Am I looking at the design right? This is Home Depot?
It is Home Depot.
Okay. Do we get like a pro deal, like anything like that, like a professional
It'd be tax exempt.
tax exempt? Okay. Cause I've worked at a golf course before and, you know, Honda is always top of the line. Toro's a really good name. But yeah, this is,
And
I think it's not that.
Infinity, yeah.
Got Toro there, we got Toro there.
Right as well.
It's gonna have to cut through a lot of stuff.
These should be able to, any one of these. three should
skunks
work.
and kids.
Just what we already have in the ground piece because.
But can we also explain why, like, we're going the buying route? Does a lot of the public know?
And the reason we're discussion of the, as I understand it, and correct me if I misspeak, is because we currently had like a lawn service that cost us, I believe it was $8,000 a month.
I thought it was 85.
It was $1,800.
$1,800.
Okay.
And how long was that contract for? How many months, do you know?
Well, they're not even communicating with us at this point.
So that's not available. So
It's
Well,
18,
in the past, so is what I'm getting at.
So it was 21,000.
that's not
Just
bad.
over 21,000 a year.
I thought the budget said that we were paying them 8,500.
That's what I thought, it was 8,500 or 8,000 anyway, or something. I got that wrong.
So even if it's one season of mowing, it's paying for itself.
If it's 1,800, no. If it's
Well,
8,000, yes.
So, and if they're mowing, what, 5 months?
Right.
So that's $8,000.
Yeah, then it would be, you're right.
Not that one.
So one season would pay for a mower that would last longer than one season.
And Trevor, do you feel like you have the manpower?
Staffing to do that.
Staffing, sorry. Staffing.
Depends on, how our year's looking, like how many taps we got, how many leaks we got, if we're behind on stuff. I mean.
We
No,
hire a temporary person just to mow the lawns?
We can look into it, but that's gonna take a little time and it's.
We have a temporary person.
We got a temp guy that's doing the
Slash.
pile.
Yeah, but you mean if we purchase a mower?
Yes.
If
I
we
thought you
purchase-
meant another
Temporary.
company to come in.
Yeah,
and
no,
mow
I was
for
thinking
us.
like somebody to operate this mower that we would keep on. Yeah, it would be fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we could take turns.
Well, they would only be mowing. So it's not like that part-time person couldn't go and do that once a week and probably take 3 hours.
Oh, there's a lot of, we're not just talking the front,
You got this, you've got
all of this back here.
and you got
Community center.
the community center.
There's a few areas and I don't know how long it was taking people before to do it,
I
but
don't think it's very long. I watched them do this.
so a full day maybe
You
to,
move in and out in 4 hours.
Yeah.
So
Just to take-
what are your thoughts, Trevor, on maybe using our temp that runs the slash pile, pulling him over to mow these once a week?
it's possible. I'm sure we could do that.
What all do you utilize them for? Just the slash pile or do you pull them to do other things?
As of right now, it's mostly slash pile and cleaning up trash around the trash bins.
Well, you can cut out the 4 hours of the mow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think long-term financial, like, it makes the most sense that Forest Lakes has this equipment to get another contract on and to do it ourselves. I think it just, for the residents, it makes more sense than
Agree.
anything.
agree.
And as
Is there a
board member,
preference
I'll
to the
put-
machine? Preference for a machine?
It appears that they're all zero turn. Yeah, zero turn, zero.
Yeah, that's the type of mower
Pretty
it
much
is.
identical mowers, just different terrain.
Just different brands. They're all zero turn though.
Yes, I understand, zero.
I don't know. I got a big Kubota with a brush hog.
So it's gonna cost. It would cost $1,000 more than the Cut Cadet, but it's also got a. Read that fine print. Is that a 60-inch or 80-inch?
60.
That's a 60-inch.
They're all in the 60, aren't they?
Yep,
Okay,
that's pretty big.
yeah, no problem. 5 foot wide, yeah.
Well, that's even smaller.
That's why I put that other one on the table.
Okay, I know how cheap, watch this.
I couldn't read it.
So is Home Depot the only ones that we can get pricing from, or is this just to get us in the ballpark? I mean, we're gonna have to make a decision.
I know.
We
I
should
was
make
just
it
trying
tonight.
to hurry.
I agree.
So the Cub Cadet is the only one that is actually rated commercial. The other two Toros are residential.
What makes them?
So it's
No,
just the
that's-
standard equipment.
It says commercial B-twin.
Oh, see, right here. Right here under details. Just says residential under
Yeah,
It does.
how it's classified.
yeah.
Just the quality of components, stuff like that.
We do need to be making a decision. I gather with what I'm hearing is we're all in favor of purchasing a mower.
Yes.
It's a matter of deciding which mower of these three that are,
Because it has to be ordered, so it might be a couple more weeks.
so that being said, the grass is still growing. Is anybody, I kind of like the ideas of a commercial mower, because that has a little more
Ooh.
What do you?
The
What are
maximum-
you in about?
the-
The height of the
Horsepower
deck?
is less.
Yeah, okay, we're good, never mind. I answered my own question.
Okay.
Looks like the Cub
See, like
Cadet's
the
like
first
less
one's on
horsepower.
sale. Sorry.
What,
Looks like
Trevor?
looks like the Cub Cadet's less horsepower,
Yeah, smaller gas tank.
smaller gas tank, lower cutting, like maximum cutting height, lesser speed.
And it's only side discharge. Do we care about that? We're trying to pick up grass clippings.
Right, yeah.
I think the
It's only
initial cut, like, have to discharge, like, there's no, we need to knock it down quick. And I think that's what you're kind of alluding to is like,
Okay, can I throw something else out here real quick? Because if it's gonna take time to get this. And we go with the lesser expensive one, which is $500 less than the red unit and $1,000, $1,100 cheaper than the last or third black unit. That would give us money to actually go down and rent a larger tractor that has a bigger mowing deck. For primarily this bigger lot here and the lot right across the street from us. And part of what's down front. I mean, we gotta get this grass cut.
I
And
was
so,
just gonna ask if we could rent a bush hog or bushwhacker or whatever they're called.
brush hogs, yeah.
Yeah. So,
I mean, they have different size mowers, different size attachments.
cause these, it's
Do we
gonna
have-
bother.
do we have to pick model tonight? Or can we just approve the fact that we're purchasing one?
It was already approved in the last board, wasn't it?
No.
Well,
No.
I actually think we need to go ahead and make a decision on the one we're gonna get and
Yeah,
get it
because she
coming.
needs.
And then,
But you just pointed out to me a very good point here. The Cub Cadet flat with obstacles / Healy. The other two are just flat with obstacles.
Just terrain, it says terrain type,
You can
Cub
handle
Cadet flat
more.
with obstacles and hilly.
So
So up and down, you can handle that a little bit
these,
better.
these two can't do my yard. That one
It
can.
would, yeah, and I think that that's something.
Gotcha.
So. With that being said, because we do have hills around here,
And it's cheaper.
it is cheaper. So let's get a motion to purchase and move on that. Is everybody okay with that? Are you kind of, everybody kind of on the same page as to the type?
you gotta get,
I motion to purchase the cadet, but also get a rental to get this grass cut first. Because we may, like she said, we may be waiting a little bit. And there's no way it's gonna go through 3 feet of grass. Those are probably meant to maintain,
They're
not.
pretty good, actually. Those zero times are good. But that being said, let's go ahead. That's your motion. Can I have a
That's the biggest, they're all cool.
second?
second that.
Okay,
Oh, wait, did somebody need to pitch in?
Solid.
I have a couple of questions. Is that-
Leslie?
Go ahead, Leslie.
Okay, sorry. I just wanted to make a quick suggestion, or ask a question. The budget is showing $8,000 for a riding lawnmower. So it seems like, maybe it'd be a good idea if the board sets a budget. Because if you're gonna go over the 8,000, it probably should have board approval. But if it's under the $8,000, since it's already in the budget, that kind of means it's already approved. So you could just sort of direct somebody to make the decision.
And what we're looking at, because you don't have this in front of you, is about $6,600 for the unit we're looking at.
Mhm.
And then if we rent, it would be a couple $100.
Okay, so all of that is under the $8,000 budget, so basically it's already
I'm
approved.
not saying 200.
Okay,
I
so
mean,
as long as it's 8,000,
Yeah, I think we'll be below 8,000.
okay. So we don't need a motion then to purchase some more because we've already got it in the budget?
I think so. You might make a direction for somebody who's gonna make the decision on which one to buy.
8,000. So I guess my question is that 8,000 for the mower, or was that 8,000 for the service?
It says riding lawnmower under capital expenditure is $8,000.
Okay.
Okay, that sounds like a mower.
That's what I was thinking the previous one. Okay, so I'll second her.
Well, it's already in the
Okay.
budget, so we don't really even need a motion. We just need to move forward and get it.
So we've all agreed upon the one that's on sale for $65.99. Is that correct?
Sounds good to me.
Is everybody in favor of that? I mean, just,
Michael, Trevor?
Yeah,
Out of these three, I would, because of the commercial, because of the hilly nature, or the
yeah.
hilly terrain, I think that's probably the best option of these three.
The cadet, because of the hills and stuff, and where we live.
And it's on sale.
And it is on sale, it's under the $8,000 that it was budgeted.
I
so
can't
that's a
tell,
good
but
thing.
it's, probably, is it an 8, the second number? It's hard to tell, but it could be almost $1,000 savings because it is on sale.
Good job.
Say 500, so it's 65.99.
Okay, so yes, we're purchasing and we'll place that order and move forward with that, okay? Let's go to section F, concerns the attached. And Julie, I think this would be a good, I think some of those things have been answered, some of the questions that you had. But let's go through some of that and make sure that we are all on the same page.
Yeah, the first thing was, I know that the new district manager could do this, but I think we need to be thinking about a disaster recovery plan, loss prevention. There has been some issues in the past where documentation was not kept, and that's lost. We're missing that data.
And I think that's a good point, and I think now we have a records person that is doing the filing, and instead of like giving it to the district manager to look through and throw away, where you've got somebody else taking care of that. So I have a feeling that that's been addressed now. We should be in good shape on that now.
And everything as far as the computers is.
Yeah, that's what I read. It said, so, yeah, because we don't want emails
Good.
deleted, we don't want anything deleted, we gotta have that documentation.
Good.
Yeah, so that's good. Document retention policy goes along with the same thing. We should have a 7-year, all these policies are gonna have to change to incorporate these because of the situation where information was taken or not, or just disposed of.
Well, there's different requirements depending on the document. So there's a huge manual. It's not that simple.
Well, we need to define it though.
We don't
SDA,
have to, SDA already has, we have the manual and that's what we follow.
Okay, so that should be put in our policies then.
that
To
we're
at least
following,
refer to that.
that we're
Because,
following, and I believe it's under state as well. And CRS 32 special districts.
yeah,
A lot of that, I mean, I've got a look at that now. But I know that they are using SDA here at this time.
well, that's it.
For
But
the
it wasn't
files.
So,
It was followed as long as I've been here.
I think it was only certain stuff that was left for district manager that got
Yes, this is true.
discarded. I believe that stuff was discarded, but otherwise,
so in our policy manual, we should definitely then refer to that manual, so it is at least there and somebody can't come back and say, hey, I didn't know.
point.
Trevor, at one point, I put on here, because you were asking for, the hydrant meter flow thing to go into the water trucks.
a test unit.
Trevor's gone. Oh, Trevor's.
No, he's still there.
Trevor, do you hear us?
Yep, I hear you.
Yeah, so in the minutes or in the agenda, if you could look at that and then maybe provide some data as to like how how much the truck can hold of water and how much water is lost when you're flooding out the fire hydrants, that kind of thing. Maybe we can have, I don't know, the grant writer help us get a grant for this piece of equipment. But I put some information in there for you to look at to try and provide for us, and that will also help with cost approval. So if we're spending $10,000 flooding out all the fire hydrants and it's costing us $6,000 to put it into a truck and save all that water, am I explaining myself very well?
Yeah, you're actually,
You know, try and find the cost.
instead of
Cost
wasting the
analysis.
water, shooting it down the road, we can actually put it in the truck and use it.
Save
for
it.
roads. So that makes a dual purpose for that.
But we should also be doing the job. We may not have the equipment, but in the past, we had like a time frame to get the job completed.
Right.
We should continue to do that,
Right.
even if the process isn't exactly to our liking.
Until we get a
Right.
piece of test equipment or whatever, they can put it into our truck.
Right, because this is $5,000. It's gonna be even higher than that with delivery and tax and whatnot. And I don't know if a grant writer can help with that kind of stuff or not.
I can ask her.
But she would want all this information.
And it's mid-June.
Yeah,
We
we
don't
may
pay
not be able to do
tax.
it until next year.
We don't pay tax.
We don't.
We're exempt from tax,
Okay.
but we still need to do our jobs and do stuff.
Right.
So, I mean, it still needs to be done. And
Right.
so if it helps us, if we don't get it this year, maybe we can put it on
Next
the,
year, right.
and hopefully then, but yeah,
Anywhere we can save money down the road is, I think,
absolutely.
what our residents are hoping that this board does.
So is that doable?
Sorry?
Is that doable to get this information from you?
Yeah, I can give you some numbers. I like our water truck, I can tell you is 4,000 gallons.
Yeah, so if you could provide that information in an email and we can, you know, give it to Jamie and put it all together in a nice way that maybe she can send it off to the grant writer.
Okay.
May not be this year, but it, you know, maybe we can look at it next year.
And real quick on that, how much do you think you blow through water wise out of a hydrant when you're flushing it? Do you think it's 4,000 gallons or less?
Like per hydrant or all together?
Just
Per
one
hydrant.
hydrant.
Oh,
I mean, what you blow through one of those hydrants, do you think it will fill that truck?
not off of one hydrant, no.
Okay,
I would imagine, I don't know, it's hard telling because each hydrant, you know, flows a different amount of water, but I would say we could probably test six, seven hydrants, you know, before we'd fill up a water truck.
okay.
Yeah, that's what number 2 is, bullet number 2 on there. It's in here.
Cool.
We got 143 hydrants total.
One thing I wanted to mention before I forget. I have had residents tell me that they're very pleased with the roads holding up the way they are with the new product that we're putting down. Having done these roads, not these particular roads, but having done roads in the past, I personally, with my experience, was very pleased as well. And they've asked that kudos be passed on to your road crew.
I will most certainly do that.
Going on to the next thing, outside services out of district. I just got the contract and we'll save this for the district manager to talk to him about it.
There's gonna be some talk to him about people that live outside.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm getting emails to.
awesome. Solar lights outside in the parking area and around the office. It's my understanding, Trevor, that we have those. Some have been installed, but they're not working. Do you know how we can get them working?
Talking about the motion lights on the side of the building. So let's do.
They just need to be adjusted. That's it.
Okay, so anybody can do that.
The motion sensor needs to be adjusted.
Yeah. We-
The sensitivity on it or something.
Do we already own the lights though for the parking lots?
We're here around the building, yeah.
And have they actually been, is this the ones we're talking about that need adjustment, or is this a separate lighting system?
I thought there was one that hasn't been.
There's
installed yet.
one that hasn't been installed, but the ones that have been installed on the exterior just need to be adjusted. We need somebody to take the time to do that.
So is that something that the shop guys can do?
Yep.
So,
Can we get that scheduled?
Yep.
yeah, we
We can
need to
get
get that scheduled because when we leave here it is pitch black and you can't see anything and that's a liability.
They were working in the past though, were they not?
I vaguely recall a conversation with Bruce that said there were motion lights, but they're tied into a switch or light switch inside the building.
No, it's all solar.
But they're not working now. They worked right after they were installed and then that was it. So, I don't know.
Okay.
We'll
The
take a
guy-
look at them.
Yeah, those were the ones that installed them.
Trevor, do you have problems? We have a resident, Juan Romero, that said that he would help. You know, if you guys can't figure it out, he'd be happy to work with you.
If it's gonna be someone working on Forest Lakes, they.
It is.
Business license.
Okay, he's not, so
Yeah,
just a
it's
resident.
gotta be, for liability purposes, we need to make sure that it's either the employees or a contractor that is insured.
So could we make sure that we get that done like in the next, by the end of June?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
Thanks, Trevor.
thank you.
Mhm.
I know there's been signage at the office that you guys had talked about before when you were on the board. Before we came on, it was expensive and you couldn't do it, so I was thinking, okay, well, how could we do this? Maybe we put it out to the residents who are artistic and see if somebody would put one or.
The board that we were talking about is one of those electronic ones where you can put messages of, like,
So you
election
can
day,
communicate
so.
People as they're coming up, they can read, oh, they're having a board meeting tonight. That's tonight.
I do believe we only got one quote.
And I think
We needed like 3 or
we need
something.
to investigate that so that we can be more transparent with our residents. But, you know, put something like in the center or something so people can see it and know that there's a board meeting, there's an election, there's road work done or whatever there is. So that's, the idea was electronic so that you can like type it in and you can see it.
Like the ones in front of schools.
The school one is fabulous, but
Blind you at night, but
yeah, it's fabulous. Blinding.
it's
Yeah,
right at
Just kind of off topic, schools are exempt from following, the sign code.
Yeah.
That's why they're allowed to have that thing, 'cause, by state law, they can only change so many times. Yeah, yeah.
But we have a piece of wood out there with magic marker. I mean, this is an address that needs to be
Right.
Yeah, we.
nicer.
we need
Yeah, we
an
need a.
we need an address, yes.
We need an
You were
address,
right.
that's what I'm talking about.
And I think if we have a little extra in the budget and stuff, we just put Forest Lakes office, you know, or whatever, Forest Lake Metro District office or something like that. Is that kind of where you're towards a little more observable?
Or a rock, you know, a big rock that they might have down there, then we could just put the address on it.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay, so that's two different things that we're talking about, the sign for here,
Information.
and then we're talking information, so two different signs we're talking about.
yeah.
Okay. And again, if there's extra time but we do need for like that to get some quotes or something, what it would cost for the signage here, if we can find somebody that's artistic or something.
Yeah, I was just thinking maybe there's residents out there that are very crafty and artistic and maybe
Sure.
they could do
A sign for The office
For the
here?
office.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I agree.
Nice.
We can order a sign online too. We can put whatever we want on it.
True.
Kind of goes back to having people do improvements to the building or land without insurance or.
Yeah.
Well, our crew could install it if somebody else brought it to us. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, true enough, true enough. So that's something that in the future, let's get some ideas. So that I put back on all of us to see what we can find, and we'll wait for the,
So we got Trevor do, get some quotes from the signs from his guy
yeah.
or whoever you go through.
Yeah, I can
sounds-
go online. We got a sign that a sign company that we've used in the past for our stop signs, our yield signs. I can go through them and I can tell you exactly how much it's gonna cost.
What's the company?
I think it's like trafficsigns.com.
But it's gonna look like that. So if we want something that looks.
rustic or something like that, that has a foresty lake to it, feel, is gonna have to be something different, very likely. Like you said,
You can change the
artistic,
color.
like, yeah, brown, well, I don't know.
Well,
Kind of-
the company he's talking about, they do, you can have them make all kinds of cool things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's reflective.
One of the other things that was on our thing, the mailbox, or, the roof of the mailbox, that's being recorded. I think you put that in yours, so that's been covered here too. The one thing I didn't see was the side of the building there at the shop where the insulation was showing. Are we doing anything with that?
Yeah, we hope that I'm pretty confident that we can take care of that ourselves. It's just a matter of trying to find the, match that pro panel, so it's the same pro
Okay.
panel on there.
That'd be nice. Yeah, brown is brown, but,
Yeah.
at least not having the insulation showing would be maybe a good thing.
As far as the post office or the mailbox area here, that hole in the roof there. Somebody was telling me that was actually damaged because they reached up with a backhoe to break up the ice. Is that correct, Trevor?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, the district manager gave him that instruction to do that.
So are we getting bids? Don't we have to get at least one or three bids or something for what that's gonna cost?
Yep, I've reached out to 3 different companies. 2 of them have responded and are gonna be coming out either tomorrow or sometime this week to get us some quotes. I also kind of told them, I don't know if we're maybe looking to maybe put shingles on there. I mean, I don't understand, having pro panel on there and putting snow stops on. I mean, in my opinion, the purpose of pro panel is to shed the snow, but we're putting snow stops on there.
Understand the purpose.
So I had them kind of quote just to repair the damage.
It was, but as for shingles,
No.
I would like to propose something. I know you guys sign checks. And me. It was very enlightening for me to come in and sign and know what is being put out as far as expenses. Don't know how you feel about it, but I would love to sign all those checks and look at them, or we make sure that each one of us looks at them and says, hey, what is this about? Why are we doing this? Kind of audit it as we go.
a lot of times 2 board members can sign it. So you could
That's
be,
what they've been, that's what you.
in the past, it's always been 2 board members, so you can definitely be one of the,
She's on finance, so.
yeah,
makes sense.
that would work just fine. And
And you're the
then
treasurer, correct?
she is,
So it makes sense.
that would be fine with me.
Okay.
And then you don't have to drive in. I'm right
Well,
here.
we still need,
I drive by this place twice a day.
we prefer, the preference is to have the board members sign the checks. If we're not available, whatever, then Jamie and Shauna have that ability. But the idea, and in the past, it's always been the board that signed the checks.
Yeah.
So absolutely, please come sign checks.
And one thing that I was gonna ask you about is in this report, can it have a column that says component equipment, what is that? What is it used for? You know, what are we paying them? Can we have a column that says this is what it went for?
Why don't you just sit with me and I'll explain it, because you'll see it every month and after a while.
Well, I think everybody needs to be aware of what
the expenditure
the
actually went to.
expenses are for. Like core and main, I mean, that's really not descriptive.
As
at
long
all.
as you know, that's important because you're representing the residents and the budget committee.
Okay.
No,
So-
I get what you're saying. Well, you're putting all that stuff on there, but if, say I'm a resident, I really wanna know why we're spending, $367 to Bayfield Gas. You ask for a core request and get that information, because that is public information to be.
Okay. Okay.
We just can't handle like GL code, like our account code, but we can show them, this is what it was spent for.
Yeah. Okay.
So
But you're-
transparent, but yet having an awareness, what is it really going for? Or why we are doing that. I support you being,
Cause I'm sure, some paperclip to the check is all the invoices with kind of all broken out.
And it's
Some of them.
Some of them
don't
are,
have
yes.
much information.
And some of them I've asked questions about, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
We've all done that.
And you can sit at my desk and sign them and ask me, did you go from?
She has the invoices there and can explain it too. So, yeah, by all means.
Having said that, is there a limit as to how much just Trevor can spend without getting approval? Is there an amount or does there need to be an approval?
I think that's something that we need to develop as a purchasing policy. And then, I mean, if we,
That's gonna
like,
need
I
some-
can change the one that we have for the town of Bayfield, and then we can cater it to what we want to be here.
We'll need to look at that a little
But I
closer
think-
to see what our
See what I'm
policy
saying?
is.
That's
Yeah.
critical to me.
But I think that's kind of a topic we should probably have when we have a district manager in place as well.
Because you had talked, you had mentioned in one of the emails, there was a certain amount that you, under a previous manager, were able to.
Right. but
Beyond
it's not
that.
written Anywhere,
Yeah.
it really does need to.
Yeah.
So, and that's what our job is policy, you guys. So that would be right up our alley.
We're gonna need to sit down, and look at.
But to
policy.
work with the district manager and to make this all come together, and maybe Leslie can, be part of that too, so.
We're on the topic of finances, and this just reminded me of a question that I was asking Jamie about from Brown Hill Engineering. We have a 60-month contract.
Right,
I forget the dollar amount.
$2,700.
What is that for, Trevor? Do you know?
It's for the SCADA, it's the VSAAS.
Grassley Engineering.
Yeah, that's like part of our new SCADA system that we got. And what all that entails, I mean, I don't know exactly. I was just part of the contract with them, and it's kind of like they're always on call pretty much. We ever have an issue, we call, they take care of it. And to some extent, they have like, they're monitoring our system. If something goes down, they can see it and make corrections.
Does it
But
also
as far as-
send out a text alarm or a call alarm to any of the people that are on staff?
Oh, yeah, we have, that's all part of that program. Yep,
Okay,
that's always
so is it a requirement that we have people set in that computer room watching the data, or is it something that where if there's actually a problem, they're gonna get notified? So is there a reason why people would sit in the room and look at the computer graphs?
Are you talking about like us or them looking at the gross? Yeah, I mean, we don't have a guy that's constantly, sitting in there monitoring it all day. I mean, we check on it periodically, but
To answer your question, it's a, yeah, yes and no. There is a requirement to have somebody in that room for however long it takes, because you gotta get your numbers and all your stuff for your DMR and all your monthly reporting you have to do to the state. But it doesn't have to be manned 24/7.
Right.
And I don't know how long it takes here, but it takes 4 hours in Bayfield to get all the numbers from both plants
Every day?
every day.
Wow. Okay.
But my system's a little different than this one. So I mean, there's a lot of testing and stuff that has to be done.
Okay.
Okay. So is that pretty everything? Can we move to disbursements, approval of disbursements?
Yes.
Can I get somebody to make a motion on, approval of the disbursements in the amount of 92,433?
I motion to approve the budget checks,
Disbursements.
distributions.
So the way I was told to do it, when I was the treasurer, you have to state the period, so like May 1 to May 31st in the amount of not 92, blah, blah, blah.
Okay. So I motion to approve the check register from May 23rd.
May
May 1st through the 31st of May.
Oh, that's the GL period, sorry. May 1st through May 31st in the amount of $92,433.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good, super, thank you. Now may I have a motion for the last item? Adjournment. Anybody?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
And I'll second that one.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
The time is 9:37 PM and we are now adjourned. Thank you.
We missed Teresa's question, but
What was it?
are we stocking the lake and anything new on horizon?